What's up guys, Isaiah from FBAbros, and in this video we're going to be going over 4 real and in my opinion easy types of businesses that you can start in high school or college and be making $2,000 a week with, or $8,000 per month. Now real quick, just want to let you guys know that we do have a Facebook group, the FBAbros Entrepreneur Mastermind group. So in this group we basically just talk to each other, help each other out. We help you, you guys help us, and we can all grow together. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and search that up and join it. And we also have an Instagram, so go check that out if you are on Instagram. We post daily content, just try to provide as much value as possible to you guys. So, on to the businesses. The first thing I want to say is there's some things that all of these businesses will need, right? Some things that have come from you that you're going to have to do or be to make these successful. And the first thing you're going to have to do is work, right? There are no get-rich-quick schemes, and if they are, you probably don't want to be a part of them because they're volatile. So all of these things I'm about to show you are going to require work, and they're also going to require hustle. Now, what's the difference between hustle and work? You know, work is what you have to do. Hustle, to me, is the extra mile. It's what you do after hours, right? Work's your 9 to 5 p.m., hustle's your 5 to 11 p.m. They're going to require this as well, right? If you're in high school or college, you're not going to have a lot of time. So you're going to have to manage that time correctly, and you're going to have to, really use your time wisely. They're also going to require consistency, right? Daily actions that are going to take you far. Things that you're going to have to do every day to advance in whatever business you choose. You can work on these things 3-4 days a week, definitely, but it has to be consistent and it has to be disciplined. Perseverance. There are going to be obstacles. You're going to have some failures. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to have to figure some stuff out, and you're just going to have to keep going. The difference between people who are successful and not successful is just the successful ones kept going, right? They got through the obstacles. Speaking of obstacles, problem solving. You're going to have to solve some problems on your own, You're going to have to figure things out. You're going to have to Google. You're going to have to read. You're going to have to just figure things out. In business, what we've learned is just a constant stream of problems you're going to have to overcome. And that's what it is. The obstacle is the way. That is what it is. If you're only thinking about the end goal in mind, you're not going to get very far. You have to really enjoy the process. You also need a willingness to learn and get better. This goes hand in hand in problem solving, right? You're going to need to be willing to keep going, and keep getting better. And you're going to have to be a constant learner in business, right? Business changes so much every day, every week, every month, that if you're not adapting and getting better, then it's not going to work out for you. So you need those. You're also going to need time, right? Every business has a build-up period. You're not going to be paying yourself and making that $2K a month. Well, you might be making that right off the bat, but you're going to want to reinvest that into the business until everything's settled and you can pay yourself. Now, the buildup is going to vary person by person, business to business, but no matter what, there's always going to need to be time involved. So you're going to need to spend time on this. And one thing I want you guys to keep in mind, even if you don't make money, as long as you're learning and growing, you can't lose, right? This is a lifelong thing. Being an entrepreneur is a lifelong thing. You're going to have to keep going, and every time you fail, you're going to get better. Failure is the best teacher, right? You see it on all the entrepreneur quotes, all the stuff like that. And it really is true in my experience. And a year from now, you're going to wish you had started today. So keep that in mind. So on to the first type of business venture. Really, this can be a business, but it's almost more of a hustle. And that would be flipping used items, right? Buying low and selling high. Reselling stuff like clothing, books, whatever. You can buy low, sell high, anything, as long as there's inefficiencies in whatever marketplace you're selling to and buying from. And in my opinion, this is the easiest way to turn $100 into $10,000, right? So a little bit about us. The FBAbros, this was our first business venture, right? We were flipping items. We started initially with all items, clothing, electronics, and books, and random garage sale stuff as well. When we realized our best ROI and margins, and really not necessarily the easiest, but just something we could focus on was books, we decided to focus on used books. And we quit our jobs after about 2 months of doing this part-time. focused on used books, and the average profit per book we sell is about 13, a little bit less, and the average buy cost is $1 to $2. So you can see turning $1 to $2 into 13 is pretty dang good, especially when you can do it 500 times a week, and that's the amount of books we were sending into Amazon FBA, and we'll get into more of that later. We were sending in 500 books a week, and at $13 profit, that's about $6,500 profit a week. Now, of course, you're going to have to sell those books, and that is when the buildup comes in mind, but it is possible, and you just have to keep sending it in, keep getting that compound effect, keep reinvesting, and eventually you will sell that many books. This also allowed us to generate capital for our other businesses, including private label and some other stuff we'll be getting into. If you are interested in private label or anything like that, go check out our case study on our channel. And for more book selling tutorials, I will link a playlist to those videos, so go check those out. Now, the pros and cons of flipping. So some of the pros. It's very easy to start and learn. If you got $5 in your pocket, you can go buy some stuff you can flip for higher. Really, and the learning part really just comes from, wherever you're going to sell it, do some research. So if you're going to sell a used jacket, go on eBay, look that jacket up, or look up similar jackets, see what they're selling for in the sold category. If you're doing books, it's really, really, really easy to start because you just got a scanning app. And if you use something like Scout IQ, you have built-in triggers, so it'll tell you what books to buy. You don't need to know anything about what used books are worth money. You just have to get out there and start buying them and start sending them in. Another pro, it can be started with no capital or low capital. Like I said, you can even find a lot of free stuff in your local area that you could sell. Check the free classified ads in your area. I guarantee you'll find a bike, a piece of furniture, something that you can probably sell for $5-10. You just turned $0 into $10. That's a great win. Keep going with that. You could start a real, little side hustle that can make you some money, and you could flip that into even more money. And that's really the point here, is reinvesting, getting that compound effect going. There's tons of info out there also for this flipping game. You're on YouTube. You're probably seen this video and some other videos talk a lot about flipping used items. A lot of people making over $100,000 per year flipping used items, and they make videos and teach about it. There's just a ton of info out there, and so it's very easy to learn. And the skills learned here apply to every business. Now, this is kind of true for everything we're going to talk about, but in particular for this one, you're going to be talking to a lot of people. You're going to be negotiating with a lot of people, and you're just going to have a lot of human interaction to where, your social skills when it comes to business are going to improve because you're doing it so often. Another thing, flipping is always going to be relevant. Buying low from someone else and selling to someone else, that's going to be around forever as long as there's currency, as long as people sell things, The skills you learn from that are going to apply for the rest of your life to selling things. If you get really good at flipping, you're always going to be able to make an income, and that's kind of the cool thing about flipping. You're always going to be able to run around to garage sales and make money. It can also be very fun depending on the type of person you are. It's pretty cool finding, a book or an item that like, oh, this is going to sell for $80. I just bought it for $1. And it's almost like a little treasure hunt, right? You're going around hunting for items that you can resell for more, and it can be really fun. And constantly interacting with a lot of people affords great networking opportunity, not just for flipping, but in other areas. Maybe you meet someone and you buy from them every week because they have an item that you want every week, or a store owner or something like that, whatever. Maybe they can help you out in some other way, or maybe they have a business opportunity you guys can go in together. When we started flipping, we met a lot of people and we learned a lot of things, and we made a lot of, good friends who could help us out in other ways. And it's just, it's a great networking opportunity because you are interacting with so many people on a business level. Now, some cons. It's very hard to scale past $100,000 per year without an operation. Now, what do I mean by an operation? I mean something with a lot of employees and a warehouse and you're wholesaling. And it's just hard to get past that six-figure mark as a one-man or one-woman operation. So that's not really a con, it's still really good, but just something to keep in mind. Sourcing can also be hit or miss depending on factors outside your control, right? So if you're, sourcing at a place and it becomes a real popular spot for other flippers, you might lose some of your business. It can be not super stable. It can be there's ups and downs to every business, but especially flipping, since you don't have control of your sources unless you're buying wholesale, which is an option. But just flipping things around your neighborhood, it can be up and down. And now, if you're not the type of person that likes negotiating and bartering, this can be a pain point for you as well. If you get uncomfortable with that kind of stuff, flipping is going to be hard for you. But in my opinion, you should push past that and learn to do it instead of staying in your comfort zone. It also requires travel, right? You're going to be running around to these sources where you can buy things and flip for higher profit. So you're going to be driving a lot, most likely, unless you have really good sources in your area, which is also possible. Just kind of depends where you live. But you're going to be driving around. That's pretty much the only thing to say about that. Low barrier to entry, right? This is easy to get into. It's easy to learn. A lot of people are flipping. Now, a lot of people flip different items. A lot of people have specialties. But you're going to have competition when it comes to flipping. Now, that's not a bad thing, because that means there's money to be made there. Don't be afraid of competition. And I guarantee you, if you're watching this video, you can do whatever flipping business you get into better than 80% of your competition. And that's all you really need, is get in that top 20%, and you'll be making that money. And another point is, you're still trading time for money. If you're not running out sourcing, you're going to be not making money. Now, of course, you can take days off and whatnot, and your inventory is still going to sell, but you will reach a certain point where you can only sell as much as you can send in. And that's just, you're still going to be trading time for money, which isn't a bad thing. It's a great thing to learn, great way to make money. But in my opinion, you're always going to want to eventually get to something where you don't have to do that. And the buildup of inventory can be slow at first. So say you're selling things on eBay, like clothes, there's going to be a buildup time depending on what you're sending in. If you're sending in 5 articles of clothing a week to your eBay listings, it's going to be a long time before you make a full-time income. Now, if you're sending 100 a week, that's a different story. If you're sending 500 a week, which is going to be pretty hard, things are going to scale faster. So it is really up to you based on how fast you can scale this, how much time you have, and how good your sources are. So those are some of the pros and cons. So what kinds of items can you flip? I already mentioned a couple of these, but I'm just going to go a little bit deeper into these and explain why some of the most common items people flip. So the first one, what we got started in, was books, used books. And for those who don't know, you send these into Amazon FBA, and we'll get into that a little more later. Books have some of the best ROI and margins, right? Finding a book you can sell for $80 and buy for 25 cents happens quite a bit depending on where you are and where you're going. But like I said, our average buy cost is somewhere around $1 or $2, and our average profit is just under $13. So right there, you're turning $1 into $13 every book you buy on average for us. Now, $10 is probably a little more what you'll be seeing when you start until you get more efficient sources. But still, $1 into $10, that's a great ROI, and that's a great, great margin. Your overhead is so low with books, because even if you're sending in 500 a week, which would be $5,000 profit, you're only going to be spending between, 500 to probably about 1,000 a week. And that's just really, really great margins. It's very easy to learn, too. With scanning apps like Scout IQ out there, you're just going to be doing what they tell you to do, basically. They have triggers in them where you scan a book on a barcode, and it says to buy or reject it. And that's really, you don't really need to know anything about used books, It's not like finding antique books and selling them. It's just scanning barcodes and selling what's profitable on Amazon. Profitable books can be had for very cheap and even free. Again, $1 to $2, and we have some sources where we go pick up used books for free from them. And that's cool, because it's basically like getting free money. Books are also abundant and undervalued. Again, cheap but abundant. There's going to be a lot of places in your area that you can buy books from. Libraries, thrift stores, book sales, your neighbors, your mom, your uncle, whatever. There's a lot of books out there that you can buy and sell. Books are also pretty consistent. They sell all year long, and on 2 months out of the year, they spike up, which is the textbook season, August and January. When students start their school semesters, they rush to buy textbooks. So if you have textbooks, those are going to sell really well. And textbooks are also usually the most profitable category. They have a higher profit per book. So you're going to be making a lot more money in those months. But again, all year long books are consistent because people read all year long. And Amazon FBA makes it easy. With eBay, you're going to have to store everything you have on there, and that takes up a lot of space. Amazon FBA just lets you send things out to them. They handle the shipping, they handle the returns, they handle everything out of sight, out of mind. Now, of course, they take a pretty hefty fee, but it's still worth it because it's a little easier to scale, in my opinion. So that's pretty much the basics of books. Now, clothing. A lot of people flip clothing on eBay. This is probably about as popular as books. In the places you go to buy books, you'll see people buying clothing to flip, Goodwills, stuff like that. Clothing is abundant. There's so many clothes out there, and there's so many stores that sell used clothes, right? You can probably name 10 off the top of your head. You got Goodwills, Goodwill outlets, local mom and pop thrift stores, Salvation Armies, garage sales, estate sales, you name it. Everyone's selling clothes. You can also sell clothing on many marketplaces, right? Etsy, eBay, there's just Poshmark. There's so many places you can sell used clothes, and there's so many people buying used clothes. Now, it is slightly harder to learn than books, which means there's less barrier to entry. Now, it's not really that much harder to learn, but you are going to have to, instead of just scanning a book and seeing a green light on your app, you're going to have to make a judgment call based on what you think you can buy and sell that for. And it is a bit of a learning process, but with the eBay sold category, you can just look up similar items and see what those are selling for and make the call from there. Cool thing about clothing too is it can be niche down and specialized, meaning you can specialize in shoes, you can specialize in men's jackets, you can specialize in high-end things, and you can get really, really good at a specific niche, and that's cool because you can be the best at that and make the most money in that niche. Another thing about clothing is wholesale, right? You can buy a ton of returned clothes by the pallet and then put them on eBay, stuff like that. So it'll let you get a little more consistent sourcing, but that's a ton of work and it might not be worth it for you. You can also buy books by the pallet. Again, ton of work. I wouldn't recommend it for the single man operation, and I wouldn't recommend wholesale for the single man operation either. You can also flip electronics, musical instruments, or anything else that you can buy cheap and sell for more. Think of your own passions, right? Flipping has so many niches and options. You probably already have some knowledge of a marketplace. What do you buy used? What do you do? You probably know the prices of some things if you're into anything. Think of your passions, like I said. Think of what you buy and why. There's so many options out there to start to flip with, Again, there's people making $10K a month flipping musical instruments. You got electronics, some of these DVD, VHS combos can sell for like $80+ or more. And there's just so many options out there, guys. Now, marketplaces to sell on, right? You have Amazon FBA, what we do. Ideal for books and retail arbitrage. Now, retail arbitrage is where you buy low from like Target, Walmart, any retail store, and sell high on Amazon. Stuff like groceries, games, board games, stuff like that. And Amazon, like I said, handles all the shipping and processing. You don't got to worry about it. You just send it to them, they ship it out, they handle it. Amazon FBA business can be operated out of a tiny space. That is one of the main reasons Amazon FBA is so powerful. If you live at home or in a dorm, you just ship it out. And after you shipped it out, it's not in your place anymore. With eBay, you're going to have to store all those things, which shouldn't scare you. You can get storage units and stuff, but it is very convenient to be able to do it from your home. Amazon is also the fastest growing marketplace. They get the most e-commerce traffic, and they seem to be continuing to do that, and I don't see them stopping anytime in the future. So it's good to be a part of that. Even if you are only reselling part-time, you're going to have your ear to the ground on the happenings of Amazon, and maybe other opportunities might open up, right? So eBay. eBay is best for clothes and electronics. You can sell on Amazon too, so some people might argue this, but clothes, electronics, toys, used toys, musical instruments, and used items, just really anything used besides books. There's just so many niches. You can sell literally anything on eBay. And there's tons of sales history data on eBay to help you price your items. So if you're not sure what the price of something is, you just enter in the search bar and see the last 60 days sold, what it sold for. Really, you can sell anything on eBay. How fast and how popular it sells, who knows? You're going to have to just look that up and do your research. But there's just so many niches you can get into. Another marketplace to sell on is Craigslist. Craigslist is great for local flips like furniture, cars, bikes, bikes as in pedal bikes. It's very easy. Well, I shouldn't say easy, but it's very possible to buy these bikes on eBay for 10, 15 bucks and sell them for 30, 40, 50 bucks. A lot of people do that. You can YouTube videos about people who got started on eBay doing that. And it's just great for local flips like that. Some people even buy rundown furniture, restore them, and then sell them for more on Craigslist. Another good thing about Craigslist, or mostly a tip, is that you can set up automated buyers and sellers alerts. So if someone's selling something that you're interested in that you can flip consistently, set up an alert and you can get emailed about it using ifthenthat.com, IFTT.com. They have automated alerts. And you can flip Craigslist to Craigslist, like I said. Buy for someone on Craigslist, resell on Craigslist. Happens all the time. And really all these points from Craigslist apply to Facebook Marketplace. It's just that it's new, so that you might be able to get a little more, you might be able to extract a little more from it until the marketplace settles down. But Facebook is also an option for reselling local things. Now, the second type of business that you can start is a local service business. So this is great. A lot of people have started these. A lot of people have had success with these, and this is really the classic way to go when it comes to business, right? It's a great way to learn the basics of business and make money while doing it. Some types of local service businesses you can start, and really you can, anything you can do, you can monetize if it's solving someone's problems, which you should focus on because people will pay to have the problem solved. Stuff like window cleaning, commercial or residential. A lot of people make great money with that, just cleaning windows. House painting, another great one, very easy to start. Power washing, home cleaning, maid service, pet sitting and walking. Great business to start for if you're in high school or college. Lawn care, seasonal work like putting up and taking down Christmas lights. People make good money with that. Pool care. Again, solve someone's problem and they will pay you. Now on to the pros and cons of local service business. Pros, very steady business and scalable, right? Once you start hiring and word of mouth starts getting out and you start marketing correctly, you're going to have very steady business and it's going to grow. It will also teach you how to run a business faster than any degree, right? If you're in school for business, this is going to teach you a lot more than just studying about it. And skills needed can be learned easily from YouTube or books, right? If you don't know anything about power washing, anyone these days can watch 5-10 YouTube videos, practice a couple times, and figure it out. Again, interacting with many people in your local business affords great networking opportunity. That includes with other local businesses, right? Even if you don't end up going with, the first one you start, maybe you see an opportunity that you can work with someone else. That happens all the time. You can also learn a skill while making money, right? Getting good at power washing is a skill. That's a skill that can be applied for the rest of your life, that can be sold for the rest of your life. And you can learn it while you're making money with these local businesses. You can also start making money immediately, right? As soon as you have the tools and know-how, you just go out and you do it, and people will pay you. And we'll talk about how to market and get your first clients after this. Now, some of the cons. In the beginning, you're still trading time for money until you hire, right? Like I said, you want to be the boss, you want to delegate, but in the beginning, you're going to have to know how to run the business. So you're going to have to trade time for money, which isn't necessarily a con. It's just something you have to do. Dealing with clients and customers can be a pain. You're going to deal with some shitty people out there if you do a local service business. Some people try to not pay you, stuff like that. You're going to have to hunt some people down for money, It's just the way it goes. People will try to swindle you, and people will complain. You're going to have to get some 5 negative reviews on Yelp, stuff like that. It's just going to happen. And the physical work can be difficult depending on your service, right? If you are not able-bodied, some of these local services can be very hard. But it just kind of depends on what you're doing, right? Again, there's so many local businesses you can start. And income will be capped until you can hire. Not really a con, again, this is just what happens, but you will only be able to do so much until you have to hire to take on more business, which is a good thing. And by that time, you'll be able to hire. Now, a quick blueprint to start a local service business. Again, this is just a very quick overview. People have written way more in depth about this. You can go check out the $100 Startup. It's a great book. But this is what I would do. I would identify and study the skills necessary, right? YouTube, books, whatever I gotta do to learn what I'm going to do. I would buy, rent, or the best would be to borrow the tools. Acquire them for as cheaply as possible in the beginning, right? You don't know if you're going to be doing this. Don't buy the most expensive power washing equipment, the most expensive window cleaning equipment. Just get the basics. And then you're going to want to practice these skills on your friends, on your family, on yourself, or their home, whatever you're going to be doing, right? Window cleaning business, offer to clean your friends and family's windows for free in exchange for 5-star Yelp and Google reviews. And leave them a business card and have them tell other people what you're doing. You know, people are afraid to market themselves when they start a business, but most likely, you know, you have some friends and family who are going to be willing to do that for you, and that's a great start, and that should be how you start it. You ask for word of mouth business from these people because you're more likely to get referred when a friend tells another friend about you than if, you know, someone hears about you randomly, because you're a warm lead at that point, right? They know someone who knows you. They trust that person sells you to them because they know you. So it's just going to be a lot easier to get clients that way in the beginning. Marketing. First thing I would start with, like I just said, is word of mouth. I just explained it. That's what word of mouth is. Business cards. Very easy. You can get 100 business cards for $15 and go and give them to people. Leave them with the clients you did do and tell them, you know, you can do like a referral program that if they refer someone, they'll get 50% off, 25% off, whatever, their next cleaning, whatever it is. And that's a great way to get more clients. Door to door. Now, some people might be intimidated by this, but if you really, really try and you really believe in it, you will get clients from this. So say you got a painting business, right? You go door to door and you say something like, hey, I was just in your neighborhood painting some of your neighbors' houses, and I noticed you got paint chips on your garage door. I just started a painting business. I'm 19 years old, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in my services. Do that 100 times, and I guarantee you will get clients. You will also get really good at selling yourself. Don't focus on acquiring, just focus on going door to door and talking to as many people as possible and letting them know about you. Some people might not be interested, so you just leave them a business card. Maybe they get back to you. Flyers. Very, very cheap way to start. Some people have built entire local business empires based on flyers. There was a Reddit post I read a while ago about a guy who was only doing flyers, and him and his son were doing $10K a month profit cleaning windows. All they did was flyers. Literally just putting out flyers to neighborhoods, and they had great business from it. Yelp, getting reviews, advertising, promoting on Yelp. Website. Now, if you build a website, you're going to want to use Launch 27. This is a software where basically it makes it really easy for people to schedule your services, and just makes your website high converting. I would highly, highly recommend looking into that when you do want to go with the website route. It's not too expensive to start. You know, after doing word of mouth and door to door, you should have the money to start that, and that would be the website people go to from Yelp and Google. And again, you want to get some local listing SEO on that. You can pay someone on Fiverr or Upwork or something, you know, $20-$30, and they'll do all your local listings for you, which would be helpful. And it's a high ROI thing to do. And networking. Again, you can talk to other local businesses, leave your card with them, leave your flyer. You can advertise each other, even work together. They can sell your services as an upsell to whoever they're servicing, vice versa. And that's just a great way to get more business. Now, another type of business you can start, the third type of business. This is very broad, and there's a lot of ways to go about this. There's so many spins on it, but it's very big these days, is influencer and content marketing. Your name can be worth $100,000. That's no exaggeration. Influencer marketing is when you build a following and sell to that following. Your following buys from you because they trust and like you, right? So you're on Instagram, you're posting about stuff that you're into, get a following, you can sell things that they might be interested in to that following, and they'll buy it because they're your fans. Content marketing is a marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, keyword value, relevant and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. So these kind of go hand in hand, Maybe you have a page about kitties, kittens, and you're posting pictures of kittens and cute sweaters and stuff. You build up a good following on Instagram, and then you sell kitten sweaters to people who follow your page, because most likely these people have kittens and they're going to want to do, they're going to make their cat like the cute pics you're posting. So that's basically a silly example of content marketing. Another example is, if you're in business and you post relevant info to your industry. Say you are, what's a good example here? Say you're in the marketing industry and you're posting ways to get your Facebook ads more ROI, build the best funnels, build the best email list, and you're posting valuable, keyword value, right? You want to distribute value to whoever's following you. The more value you give out, the more you attract, the more these fans of you these people become, and the more they'll buy whatever you want to sell to them. So moving on. Some of the pros and cons of influencer and content marketing. Pros, it is scalable, right? You can keep getting followers, keep getting new leads, and just keep going with it. And you can automate a lot of this process, and that's very powerful. It can also be ran from anywhere. If you want to go to Thailand for a month and run your influencer content marketing and it's all online, you can go do that. That's pretty cool. The compounding effect. Eventually, you will have enough people to where you just naturally gain more people. This is pretty cool. It doesn't require too much effort on your part to market yourself anymore, but it does require a build-up to get to that point. And once you have your 1,000 true fans, you can be set for life. Now, this is a common business or content or influencer marketing in general kind of ideas, that if you have 1,000 people who are true fans of yours that will buy anything that you put out, you can be set for life, because those 1,000 true fans are going to be true fans of yours for life as long as you keep giving them value and keep giving them access to you. So that's pretty much it. I mean, you can just be selling to those people your whole life if they can remain fans your whole life. And if you keep going, you're going to get more than 1,000 true fans. But the point is that your true fans will follow you to any platform you go to. They'll do what you say, and they'll buy what you want to sell them. And your business is you. So this can be a pro or this can be a con for influencer. For content, it doesn't have to be you. But for influencer, this can be a pro or a con. So a pro, you can be yourself and get paid to be yourself. A con, you're in the public eye, right? That's one of the cons. You will most likely have to share certain aspects of your life and be in the public eye when it comes to influencer marketing. Now, this can be an issue if you have thin skin or if you release some sensitive information, which I hope you're careful about if you do decide to do this. But there's just some bad things that can happen if you are in the public eye, right? Look at celebrities, look at anything, or anyone who is in the public eye. It is also slow to start making money. Until you build up that audience, you're not going to be making a lot of money, and you're not going to want to sell to them until you have a really good following. If you start selling to 10 people who are following your Instagram, they're not really going to like you that much, Haters, trolls, and hackers. You're going to get haters. You're going to get people trying to troll you, and you might even get hackers, especially if you are in the, kind of marketing niche where you're flashing any sort of money. People will come after your money. And it's important to protect yourself from that. That's one of the cons. So this is sort of a blueprint to becoming an influencer. Step 1, identify your niche or your people you will be serving. Know who you will serve and influence. Feel free to make it about your passions, but try to keep it semi-broad as well, right? You don't want to niche down too much. You don't want to niche down to people who are only interested in purple dog collars. You're not really going to get a lot of business. Now, if you niche down to dog wear or dog accessories, that's going to be a great niche because it's broad enough to sell and there's a lot of options you can go with. But really, you just want to know who you're going to be serving and know what kind of value you're going to be providing to them. Choose your platforms. How will people find you? Where will they follow you? How will you distribute this value? Sorry, I keep knocking the camera around. Being on several is key, but know where your people are the most. So do as many as you can. It's not going to hurt you, but identify where your main group of people is going to be. Is that Facebook? Is that a blog you have? Is that YouTube? Is that Instagram? Is that Twitter? Just know where they hang out and know where you can serve them. You're also going to want to create daily value, right? Being consistent is key. The more stuff you make, the more you are exposed, and the more money you will be able to make because the bigger following you will have. Make value daily. That should be what you're doing if you're an influencer. And the more value you make, the more valuable your content is, the more followers you will get. Really, it is all about how best you can serve whatever audience you're trying to serve. Engage with your audience and collaborate. Talk to people who will talk to you. So if you get comments on stuff, engage with them. Talk to them. These are people trying to reach out to you. This is how you develop your 1,000 true fans. Answer questions. Have fun with it. Be yourself, right? You're going to want to seem like a real person. Don't seem like a corporation or like some sort of ethereal, ghost personality that's not a real human. People want to buy and interact with from a real human. That's why salespeople chat you up. Hey, how's your day going? Want a coffee? They want to feel like they have some kind of human connection to you before you sell to them. And this is how you build your 1,000 true fans. Again, Google that. You'll find a great article by, I forget what his name is, but it's a very good piece of writing based on, or very relevant rather, to becoming a content marketer or influencer. And I have a little graphic here. Kind of explains it pretty well. Reach. Your ability to reach an audience valued by your brand. In this case, your brand is yourself if you're an influencer, right? So you're going to want to reach as many of them as possible. Engagement. Ability to drive shares and retweets, if you're on Twitter, amongst their audience by your brand. So how engaging are they with you? Are they commenting? Are they talking to you? That's a great sign. And authority. Eventually, you will become an expert or a voice for whatever topic or industry you're in, and that's when you can start selling because people view you as that. That's very important. People want to buy from someone they think knows more than them. Now, monetizing your influence, right? How do you make money from people who are following you? First step is to build a following. Second step is to sell that following. Now, really, there's so many ways to do this. There's 1,000 ways, right? You can sell courses and teaching. If you're teaching about a topic like programming, maybe you have a YouTube channel where you teach people how to program. You can sell a programming course or coaching or personal tutoring, something like that. Always a great option. People will pay to learn. Paid Facebook groups or newsletters. Again, with the programming option, you have a Facebook group where you teach people. Maybe you have a weekly live call, Q&A, where you just have a live chat with people and talk to them about programming. You can charge people, a monthly fee to be in that Facebook group and access those live calls, and also where you interact with them on the Facebook group. Or a paid newsletter, right? You send out programming news every week to an email list. People might pay for that. Endorsing products. So maybe you're a programmer and you endorse Code Academy and they pay you to sponsor them, right? Code Academy is a place where you can learn to code. That's always an option. Also creating your own products. Again, maybe it's hard to apply the programming one exactly, but maybe if you were in, say, the dog accessories niche, you create your own dog collar and you sell that to your audience. That's a great way to monetize your audience. Ebooks, write about something and sell it to people if they're interested in it. Programming, again, you could write about how to program in a certain language and sell that to your audience. Paid collaboration. So something like Shout for Shout or someone on YouTube pays you to get access to your audience. There's a million ways you could do that. And creating sponsored content. Again, Code Academy kind of thinks applies here. You just basically shout out or mention whoever's paying you to make that video. And that's a great way to do it. You can see it on podcasts. People sponsor podcasts, which is another way to become an influencer and content marketer. This is also kind of a step-by-step what's going to happen when people decide to buy from you as a brand, right? First, they're aware of you. They know who you are. You are relevant to them, so they become interested. They want to do something, right? You create some kind of desire, like, oh, this is a programming guy that makes me want to program. You advertise something you want to sell to them. Oh, I like this guy, so I'll buy from him. And advocacy. This is really important. They start telling everyone else, hey, there's this guy on YouTube teaching me how to program. It's freaking awesome. If you want to learn how to program, go check that out. He delivers great content. And that's really what you want to get to. This is kind of the steps you want to make to become an influencer. Now, the fourth business that is very good to start, I would say, would be, well, it's not even a business. It's mostly learning a skill. Like I said earlier, programming or software as a service, which is just a way to apply programming, but it's very popular and very scalable and a very good business to start if you do have the programming skills. Now, programming is an extremely valuable skill. Again, software, SaaS is software as a service. This is where you create something with programming knowledge, such as an app, web app, software, and then sell it. Programming in general is just a very valuable and monetizable skill to have. Even if you don't start your own business, you can be hired, right? If you are a great programmer and you have a great portfolio and you show them all these things you've made, you can be hired for programming and make a very good salary. I think the median developer salary was something like $70K in the US, which is great. Again, this is about starting your own business, but I'm just saying that could be a backup. And programming as a skill is only, it's not going anywhere. We're only becoming more reliant on technology, more reliant on computers, AI. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon. This is a skill that's going to last for the rest of your life if you're watching this. Some of the pros and cons. Again, it is an ever increasingly valuable skill. The need for programmers is only going up. The need for people with programming knowledge is only going up, especially AI, if you want to become involved in that industry. There are infinite applications. If you can think of it, it can be done with programming on a computer. So really, you can apply this to so many things. There's just so many ways you can make money with programming. You can also program from anywhere. If you have a laptop, and not even internet connection technically, but you're probably going to want that, you can program from anywhere in the world. If you run your own business, you can be anywhere. It's also extremely scalable, right? If you have an app that's awesome, it can really sell itself and can blow up really fast. Or SaaS, a monthly fee you charge to provide some kind of software as a service, something like, what's a good example? Canva, where I made these slides on. I pay $13 a month for the pro account because they have a great software that allows me to do a lot of things when it comes to design. And a lot of people will pay for that if you have a good program. Now, some cons. It can take a long time to become proficient, depending on how your brain works, how seriously you take it, how much you do it. This can take a couple years even, 2 to 3 years to become proficient enough to be considered a good programmer. Doesn't mean you can't make things sooner, and that is the best way to do it, is to focus on making something and learn programming through that way. But it can take a long time. It can also be lonely and introverted, right? Depends on what kind of person you are, if this is a con or not. But if you're sitting all day staring at a screen programming, you can get a little lonely. It can be an introverted activity. And it can be very frustrating starting out, right? When you compile your code and there's 1,000 errors, you have to be the kind of person that's going to want to solve those problems, right? Nothing's going to be perfect the first time. Even expert programmers, they still have to run into problems and figure things out and solve things. Again, like with every business, but programming is very specific in that you have to solve problems within your code. So you have to be the kind of person that wants to do that. Now, how to learn programming. There are so many ways to learn programming these days because it is such an important part of our society at this point in the world. One of the best websites, I think, and where I started when I was learning programming, was Code Academy. This is just a super easy, user-friendly way to learn. Now, it is mostly the basics, and they do have some advanced courses now. But for the basics, it is just a great way to learn. CodeAcademy.com, it's free. Coursera.com, they have a lot of free programming courses that you can check out as well. I never use them, but it's just another option. KhanAcademy.com. This is a great place to learn anything, and it's pretty much completely free. I would go there and just check it out and see if there's some subjects you're interested in general after this video. But for programming, they do have a lot of free courses as well. Udemy. Depending on what you're going for, some courses can be free or paid. They have a lot of free programming courses. They also have some paid ones, but don't be afraid to pay for a programming course if it is very good and it has a lot of reviews and it looks like a good programming course. Learn for free, of course, first, but don't be afraid to pay for knowledge. That's going to accelerate you. GitHub. While not necessarily organized and a great place to learn in the beginning, it is an open source website where you can learn a lot of things, and they have a great community to learn from. Definitely check out GitHub, bookmark that for when you know a little bit more about programming. MIT Open Courseware. So this is MIT's free open courseware for learning certain languages. It is advanced though. I would say only check this out with, minimum 6 months of programming under your belt. HTML5 rocks. Again, this is free also, but it is also advanced, so check that out maybe when you're a little more into it. And books, ton of books on programming if you prefer to learn that way. A lot of books you can read about programming. Now, how to monetize programming skills. There are so many ways, and you can really get creative with this. Website creation for local businesses is a very easy way to do it. You don't even need programming skills for this, as long as you know WordPress or Squarespace or something, which is software as a service, you can create websites for local businesses. And this is just a good business to start in general. They'll pay you an upfront and a monthly fee to run it, and then that's pretty much it. As long as you can create them a good website, you can really make pretty good money from this. App creation, again, this isn't, there's a lot of people making apps because there's a lot of people programming, and a lot of people know that you can make so much money from apps. So it is a semi-saturated market, but if you can stand out in some way, market it in some way, do something like that, a lot of good money to be made there. There's people who have made millions overnight. Software as a service, in my opinion, one of the best ways to scale your programming skills is basically you have a website or a software where people pay a monthly or one-time fee, and it does something for them. So like I said, Canva, $13 a month. I pay for it because it lets me do a bunch of design stuff. Teaching. So you can teach other people how to program when you know how to program. Definitely do it when you're proficient at it, but you can teach others tutorials, stuff like that, one-on-one coaching. Course creation. You can create your own courses about programming and sell them on places like Udemy. Another option. How to monetize programming skill. Influencer and content marketing, right? You can become an influencer in the programming space. Sort of a combination of these two things, right? If you know how to program, you can become an influencer. And these are also some, services you can build. Software as a service, like I said, something people use. Platform as a service, something people can use to build other things, like Squarespace is a platform as a service that you use to build websites. Infrastructure as a service, something a little more complicated that people use for networking, security, system management, basically just a platform that businesses can use for large operations like that. And there's so many ways to make money from programming, guys. Now, how would you start programming if you want to program? This is a common path that a lot of people do. They learn HTML, they learn CSS, and then they learn JavaScript and then Java. You can see I have the most used programming languages here, and they're all kind of there. And that's going to give you a great base. After that, some people like Python if they want to do games, stuff like that, apps, but that's going to give you a great base of programming knowledge. Now, when you start, focus on creating usable things rather than just learning to learn. So if you have an idea in your head about something you want to make, that's great. Focus on working towards that, even if it's not necessarily this pathway. If it involves a different language, just focus on trying to create that thing because you're going to learn more from that than just learning to learn. Try to make things that solve people's problems or makes their life easier in some way, right? People will pay to have their lives be easier. People will pay for something they think that's going to make them more money. People will pay for something that solves their problems. So if you can make stuff like that, you can sell stuff like that. If you already have an idea, again, for something, dive straight into making it. Don't just learn to learn. If you have an idea, dive straight in. Try to code daily. That's the best way to learn, right? Hour or two a day, code every day. That's how you're going to get that habit and develop those skills. And join coding groups such as places on GitHub or Facebook groups and ask for advice and try to keep yourself accountable, right? If you run into problems with this program, go places, ask for advice. Programming communities are very helpful. They're all in it together kind of mentality, and there's some good ones out there that you can join. But guys, that's pretty much it. Those are the 4 types of businesses you can start in high school or college that can make you a lot of money. And wrapping it all up, I just want to say that failure is the best teacher. No matter what, as long as you're trying and learning, you're going to be winning. The only people who don't win are those who stop in business. Keep growing, keep learning, and I guarantee that a year from now, you'll thank your past self for starting if you're consistent with it. Have patience. These things take time, but time flies whether you're doing this or not. So you might as well be doing something. Try to do something where you're enjoying the journey and stay focused on the process, right? Your goal might be money, but the more focused you are on the process, the faster you're going to accelerate towards that goal anyways. And just a real quick note, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. So guys, if you want to learn more about selling used books, private label, or just business stuff in general, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.